The Azteca is shaking, 80,000 voices rising into one single sound. 67 minutes in, the cross sweeps in. A head meets it. The net ripples, and Raúl Jiménez turns away, arms wide, screaming up at a clear blue sky he wasn't sure he'd ever see from this pitch again. His first World Cup goal, after 3 tournaments of waiting, after a journey that nearly ended before it could, because to understand what this one moment cost him, you have to go all the way back. Before the bright lights and the roaring crowds, there was just a boy in Mexico and the one thing he loved more than anything: the game. He wasn't the biggest kid on the pitch. He wasn't the loudest, but he had a feel for the ball and a hunger that simply would not quit. So he worked and he climbed. Club America saw it first. That quiet, relentless drive that doesn't show up in the highlight reels, but wins you everything in the end. And then came the call he dreamed of. Europe, Spain, Portugal, and finally, England, where a club called Wolverhampton made him their number 9, and where the fans fell in love with the striker who ran himself into the ground every single week. He'd crossed an ocean chasing something he couldn't quite name, and piece by piece, goal by goal, he built it, until, for his country, the goals piled up past 40, lifting him toward the very top of Mexico's all-time scorers. The kid with the ball had become a striker the whole world watched. And then, in a single, sickening instant, it almost all ended. A header, a collision, a sound that no one who heard it will ever forget. Raúl Jiménez had fractured his skull, and for a long, frightening while, the question was not whether he would ever play football again. It was whether he would simply be okay. The floodlights went dark. The roar of the crowd faded into silence. There were surgeries. There was a hospital bed a long way from any pitch. There were nights nobody outside that room will ever know about. And in that silence, stripped of the game that had defined his entire life, he had to face a question most of us never do. Who am I when the thing I love is taken away? The doctors were careful. The road, they warned, would be long. Some quietly wondered if he'd ever be the same player again. Most people in his place would have walked away, and no one would have blamed them. Raúl Jiménez chose to come back, but choosing to come back is the easy part. Doing it is something else. The road was slow and lonely. Recovery, rehab, a guard strapped around his head every time he stepped onto the grass, and doubt from every direction, including on the hardest days, his own. But he played again, and then again, and again. He scored. He fought for every ball like it owed him something. He earned his place back, not with one dramatic moment, but with 1,000 small, stubborn ones that nobody applauded. And he kept his name on that team sheet long enough to do the one thing he had waited his entire career to do. 3 World Cups he had carried that dream. 3 times he had gone home with nothing. And now, at 35, the chances were running out. And then, at last, in his own country, in the most famous stadium his nation has ever known, in front of 80,000 of his own people, the cross swept in. A head met it, and the net rippled. It was his 46th goal for Mexico, level now with a national great, chasing only one man left in his country's history. Raúl Jiménez didn't just score a goal that afternoon. He answered every doubt and every silent hour with one unforgettable moment. The kid with the ball who almost lost everything, standing tall in a roar he was never promised he would live to hear again. This is what it sounds like when a comeback finally finds its ending. This is Raúl Jiménez. Hit like and subscribe for more stories.